Beyond Blue is a 2020 single-player adventure game from Eline Media that lets you explore and navigate different underwater regions, research different species of aquatic life, use advanced technologies, and learn about the amazing mysteries of the ocean. More than anything, this game's emphasis is on learning, and by the end of it, hopefully offering a better understanding of ocean life and also the dangers that the ocean and all the creatures that inhabit it are facing, and in turn, how that will affect us and the planet if we don't do anything about it. From that alone, I think you'll have a decent idea on if you would be interested in this game or not. It's definitely targeted towards people who love the ocean and ocean life, and perhaps are already on a career path to be involved in it in some way, or maybe hope to be in the future, but I think it does a really good job of also showing people who might not be super knowledgeable with the ocean or don't have a huge interest in it to look at it from a different angle. It's done in a similar way that Blue Planet tries to do that, which this game is directly inspired by and uses actual footage from the show, but with the big difference being that you get to actually submerge yourself into it. Blue Planet is something I love to watch and oftentimes will lose hours of the day just having my eyes glued to the screen from the spectacle of it. And that's really what it mostly ends up being. An unbelievable visual spectacle. They have an emphasis on educating the viewer as well, but I think that part of it can get lost sometimes because the beauty of it is just so distracting. And that's where a game like this has an advantage. Because you're in the game and controlling what you do, it gives you a stronger focus on everything going on, and at least for me, the educational points of this game stuck with me in a way that they might not always have when I would be watching something like Blue Planet. I felt like by the end of the game, I had a much wider range of knowledge on ocean life and the different unique traits of all of them, but also a wider knowledge about why the marine biologists and scientists and divers do what they do. If you're looking at this game on just the surface level of a gaming experience, what you do might appear to be a little repetitive. You scan a lot of things and you swim where you need to go, and you do that again and again during the 3 or so hours that this game lasts. And if this kind of game doesn't appeal to you, then I'm sure that might be a little boring after a while, but I was immediately so invested in it that the fact that it was a game and the concept of doing these particular tasks to advance further on kind of just disappeared, and I was simply enjoying the experience of being a part of this aquatic team. I thoroughly enjoyed scanning everything I could find and listening to all the different noises of the ocean and the singing from the whales and the sounds of the dolphins. It all just felt so real. And I know this game is going to be compared to Subnautica because they both take place mostly underwater, and the obvious differences being that Subnautica is a survival game that takes place in a very alien world with all kinds of strange and fantastical creatures who are pretty but also really dangerous. And with Beyond Blue, you get a very realistic and peaceful version of that with nothing that's ever threatening you. And what I think the biggest appeal for all these kinds of games that take place underwater is that there's simply a lot of fun to just swim around and get to explore the depths and interesting complexities of how life operates and how foreign all of it really is to a lot of us. And what this game ultimately felt like more than anything was a love letter to the ocean, and also a love letter to people who love the ocean. And lastly, and maybe most importantly, not necessarily a plea, but more of a friendly suggestion that maybe we should all start caring about it a little bit more. Because it's really important to all of us and to everything that lives in it, and we actually have the power to do something about it. Is it the greatest game that I've ever played? No, it's not, but I think it's as good as it possibly could have been. Everything moved and felt like it was really there and alive within the confines of this game world, and even the characters in it felt like actual people with real life problems and feelings. And the short clips that you would get to watch after every dive were just the icing on the cake that brought the soul and the message of this game together to be just enough of a reminder of why all of this is worth fighting for. Maybe this game won't affect you in the same way that it did for me, but this is the kind of game that reminds me why I love games so much. They can be an experience that goes beyond just being a game and really lets you reflect on things in your own life and, things all around us. And they really can make an actual difference in all of our lives, even if only in an incremental way, if it does inspire even just a handful of people that want to make a change in their own life to better the life of the ocean and ultimately better the life of the entire planet. And I guess in a way what this ended up being is my love letter to Beyond Blue. I loved everything that they attempted to do in this game, and in my eyes, they succeeded in every way possible. I sincerely hope that there can be more games like this in the future where the emphasis and the focus is just as much on educating as they are on having fun. Because games have always been the best vehicle to do both of those, and this game is a perfect example of that.
We're burdened from a time when we thought the ocean was too big to fail.
You can't take anything for granted. Even though the ocean is so big, it is sensitive.
The oceans are the kidneys of the earth. They recycle material and filter it out. Most people don't know that. They're not aware. They see the ocean as a sewer that they can dump anything into, and it's out of sight, out of mind. Nothing is out of sight, out of mind on this planet. Everything is connected.
We are absolutely in this mix of biogeochemistry, and our role so far has been consumptive and destructive. If we are to continue to have a planet that works, we have to heal the harm we've caused.
What's the worst case scenario if we deny that the climate is changing, but actually it is, and we do nothing? Then billions of people's lives will be directly affected just by sea level rise alone, let alone the other effects of climate change. So it's not about who's right, it's about the consequences of being wrong in the decision that we make right now.
Educating everybody from school children, fishermen, tourists, if we can manage to do that, we have a very good future and we can gain a lot from the ocean.
If we could establish the foundation for interspecies communication, we can make first contact. And that's where I hope the future goes. Because what we really want is curious, conscientious, and a self-correcting population.
You changing can affect all the people around you. To walk instead of drive, to buy a hybrid, to ride a bicycle, to not use single-use plastic. Imagine if everybody did that. The effect would be tremendous.
We do have the power of choice about what we eat, what we wear, how we travel. All the things that we do in an everyday way, times 7 billion, will make all the difference in the world. We must protect the ocean as if our lives depend on it, because they do.